Napoleon Total War with a pike and shot mod. Last time around we managed to take Mecklenburg, and that's a wonderful victory. I am trying, as you can see here, trying to organize the two armies. We're going to make them into full stacks and then we're going to send them on. We're going to see about marching through here, try Hanover again, and probably Oldenburg as well. At the same time, we've got Wallenstein recuperating in Stettin. He's out of supplies, so he's going to need some more before he tries to make his way down to Dresden. And that's what's happening in the north. In the same time in the south, I think I showed you the fact that we have transported Leopold Wilhelm's army over to the port here, and it looks as though Athens is completely without a garrison, so it should fall easily enough. I'm sending my fleet around, and we're going to see about actually going up to Constantinople and see what's going on there. At the same time over here, of course, we defeated a big enemy Ottoman army over at the Battle of Belgrade. It's a wonderful battle situated around that one house to be the center piece of the battle, and then an interesting end where I literally won in the last second. I think it actually, technically the battle was over and then the enemy unit broke, so I'd won really on the skin of my teeth. As we have marched forward with the armies that pushed into the Ottoman territory, they had an army that came up through here and is situated right next to this town. Question is if they're going to try and walk towards Belgrade. I know the AI has a tendency to avoid, they're dead set on attack in certain areas sometimes. So it might be that it's actually marching here rather than trying to march to the aid of this town right here, which doesn't have a castle or anything. They're facing an army of 5,000 men. They don't really have a chance, and I'm gonna demand surrender, and they do accept. Wonderful. Now I could liberate this one, which I think is the more interesting choice. It's not a victory condition or anything. We had a problem in the past with me liberating areas, but I think that it's due to like heavy scripting sort of in the center of things going on. So I think we might be fine by getting set up the Principality of Wallachia. So I'm gonna go ahead and liberate this place because it kicks the Ottomans out. It gives me a buffer zone, and I'll be able to raise cash out of this area without actually having to deal with it. So these armies will be continuing up here, taking this. This territory will be handed over to the Polish, and then once that's done, we might be able to march down on Constantinople. Now I'm hoping this will work. It should really work. I think what it is that screwed me up in, trying to figure out what is sort of crashing the game and what's not crashing the game is that as for a certain amount of turns, which was actually specified by the developer, there is a high chance of the game crashing, and for me it has crashed on every turn, so I have to load the save and so on. And we got some units here. Scottish Musketeers and some mercenary arquebusiers. Well, they will be put into this army, which isn't much of an army, but it is something. And given that they have so few troops in this area, they probably have the same amount in this area. So we could just probably march on that pretty easily. With that said, it's high time to end turn. I do note that there's a Danish navy here, so we could see a naval battle. There's 12 ships, which is a lot more than in my battle fleet, which currently only holds 5 ships. However, if I add on, the sugar fleet, and this Ivory Fleet right here, or at least 4 of these ships, the ones with 58 guns, we get a lot closer to the actual number needed, and hopefully, I don't think we'll have time to... Well, I've got 2 ships coming out in 2 turns, but that's not going to be enough. We could draw on a few ships. The thing is, though, the AI usually doesn't repair its fleet, and they have a mismatch, hodgepodge of ships, so it could very well be that this is an easy target for us to sink. With that said, it's high time to end turn and march on the rest of our enemies. Well, I was wrong. It did in fact not work. It worked like it broke immediately. It's not like it went through the end turn cycle or anything. It like immediately upon pressing enter and it broke. And it broke twice. So yeah. Wallachia will be not turning up. So right. There's no like huge concern in holding on this territory for any longer period of time. So I'm just going to continue on marching to the next one, and we're going to try and upset the Ottomans as much as possible. In case there is a big army up there, we will bring the Sekbans with us as well. Although in this battle right here, they proved that they weren't that reliable. And this army will march. And just outside, I do think we can bring up the cavalry. We can bring up everyone. I guess it's the cannons, maybe? Or is it the pikemen that are slow? I can bring up the cavalry. And then demand surrender. Clearly not. It's quite heavily in favor, even though we've got plenty of troops. It is the pikemen. Not necessarily, it's the Ukrainians as well. And let's see. Okay, so it's the pikemen and the Cossack footmen. How about demand surrender? Oh, they accepted that. The Ottomans just giving up tons of territory without a fight. Oh, there's an Ottoman force. Could have a naval battle then. They broke the fort in the process. Could have set fire to armory of some sort. That's wonderful. We have captured so much territory without actually having to spill a single drop of Christian blood in the process. In case there lived a few Christians here that died in the process. Right, we've moved around there. Wallenstein is still out of supplies. I want to be able to move quite fast. The thing is, I'm going to have to move quite far to actually get into a position where I can do my little sneakeroo, which is planning to lure this army out and then have Wallenstein move in and attack. So what we're going to do is we're going to have this army set like somewhere here, and then it'll march into that territory, while Wallenstein, unfortunately, because the Brandenburgers are blocking this bridge, he'll have to march to this one and then come back to around here somewhere. So he'll able to strike down. At the same time, we're organizing these armies. What was I sending here? Looks like 2 German mercenary. Right, and this army has a lot of pikes. I need one of these mercenary musketeers, which brings it up to 5 musketeers, 6 pikemen, 2 swordmen, and then for this kind of scrap army, we have 4 light cavalry and 1 mercenary musketeer. Which I'm not sure where we'll bring them, but we want to put reinforcement in some of these cavalry units, and it's advisable then to put them in a building, so they actually, we're in a town, so they actually get reinforcements there. So everything there is good and nice. My navy, the Danish navy is still hanging around there. My navy can actually jump out here and block some trade, but there is no trade. I've been, in between episodes, I went hard on setting up trade embargoes against a ton of nations trying to make sure that I could trade with them as well. Unfortunately, I think for Savoy, yeah, we cannot because an AI has actually done a trade embargo on us. And I paid these guys so much money to embargo so many of my enemies. But it turns out some other nation has actually embargoed me. I'm not entirely sure who, but there is one. So we're not going to get through there. And yes, there's no other force to be moved. I'm really surprised that the French haven't tried to do anything here. Like, they haven't tried and come down here. Like, we've been... First of all, we've been holding this town forever. And even more important, they're one of their main ports. Or their main port city into the Mediterranean is being held. And it's like one of the few territories that have actually all the other territories that have ports. Right. There isn't much to be done, more so than to attack the Ottoman navy right here. And it retreats. Oh, it's a galley. It's only galleys. Wonderful. I don't want them to escape my grasp, so I'm gonna completely block the area. So these two can now reinforce each other at the same time as the Ottoman navy can't slip through. So there, I'm assuming it's all these small galleys. Should be a cakewalk to sink that, and then we could go up and actually block the port. Looks like there's no trade actually being done through the Ottoman port because they're not trading with anyone. Interestingly enough, not even their vassal, the Crimeans. So we can't. We can block trade with France. That's about it here. And it's really poor trade with 347 gold. But it'd be at least manage to go up and actually scout this area and keep these ports in check. What do we have out here? Fur and fur. And the price of fur is probably negligible. 30. There's a lot of more, better commodities. Currently it's sugar is the number one, followed by ivory, followed by tea. No, cotton comes first, and then tea. Right, let's end turn and see if we can't come to a battle. Right now we've captured a lot of territory without a single battle. I think we might find a battle up here. But if I'm able to... Either a battle here, or it's an Ottoman siege over here. But as I have a bias against sieges, I might just do like a battle replay of the sort of the coolest moments of that. Right. With that said, let's once more end turn. Well, oddly enough, the Ottomans bypassed the town and is going south at the same time as they've got an army from the south going north. So I'm not entirely sure what they're thinking here. Could be that maybe this one is better at laying siege, God knows. And this one's being sent here, while this one is being sent down south. We are currently experiencing supply shortages, otherwise I would have probably marched up to the bridge here rather than try and take on the enemy at the castle. With that said, we're going to continue the march here, and it's actually somewhat of an Ottoman force. They do not have a castle. It should be a pushover, and we should capture this quite easily, in fact. So in that regard, that won't be a problem, which is good. And this seems safe. No one's coming for that. The Ottoman armies are instead all over the place. Not sure where to go. And yeah, let's combine the fleet again and try and sink this Ottoman navy, which was pushed up against the coast. And they keep slipping away. They keep slipping away. They have a pretty sizable force in Constantinople, though. So that's going to be a harder nut to crack. So we got that going on. We go back up north. This army has arrived just outside of the town. Wallenstein is currently receiving supplies. Yet he's not just ready to move just yet. There's still 20 minus. However, these armies are now ready to march. However, I want to make sure that we are ready to move in here. Last time I think I had like, I don't know how many crashes I had trying to deal with this settlement. So I want to make sure that I'm well prepared to go in there and destroy it, so I don't end up in a situation where I have to play like a half an hour battle or even more just to have it crash on me, and trying to do that twice or even 3 times makes it not an enjoyable experience. Right, what else am I doing? Nothing. In terms of technology, if you're interested, we're going for advanced reload drills, which is going to open up a new barracks for us. See if it gives any interesting troops. It gives us fusiliers, which have quite high accuracy, but nothing really more interesting than that. Could be that it opens up other interesting technologies, but for right now that's what we're going for. With that said, let's go ahead and turn, see if we can come to battle here, and maybe I can sink this fleet as well. Well, okay, so maybe I shouldn't have said anything, because now it looks like they've made up their mind and they're both going full Belgrade, which is going to be quite difficult to deal with, but we'll do our best for sure. In the meantime, I think that we have a battle set up here, but I want to do just a little bit of naval battle before then. Ooh, okay, now you're screwed. Now you're screwed. We've forced their fleet into this cove right here. Oh, it's a recipe for the disaster. A massacre is about to take place. In terms of the result of that battle, I don't think the Ottoman could possibly have done worse than what actually happened. Now, obviously, it's not necessarily down to, you know, their, well, partly to their deployment, but still, I mean, you know, bad luck, bad luck. I'm gonna move through and see about attacking their steam port. And with that, we're gonna go ahead and attack this force right here. 3,000 enemies. Lots of melee units. We'll see how it goes. With that said, let's march to battle. I am in the process here of setting up my army. We can kind of see how it shapes in a half circle as the Ottoman army is just at the outskirts of this town. However, the enemy cavalry has started attacking us over in the flank, and they're really tearing up this square. We've ordered the cannons to fire at them. Oh, the square is about to break, actually. The gunners have to be turned. The general has to come to their aid. And the square needs to be replaced. It's lost over 100 men at this point, and it's kind of being broken apart here. I'm bringing in the cavalry. I was trying to avoid the Ottoman cavalry for as long as possible, but it looks like it's just lighter cavalry that we are dealing with here. So I'm thinking we will be fine, and it also looks like my half circle won't really be working here, as the Ottomans are not really taking the bait. I would have selected all of them, but since they weren't already in like a straight line, I'm not sure it would have worked too well. I'm gonna send all my cavalry over to this side now. Oh, you have for some reason jumped off the cannons. What's the cavalry doing way out here? Hold fire. I'm not entirely sure why the cavalry has followed all the way out here. It should be back here. General will be moved in. See if he can aid the cannon crew over here. And you need to just get out of the way so that I can tell the musketeers to open fire again. General will be able to fire these guys up the rear. Well, I'll see if I can get some cannon shots shot at the enemy. Okay, the cavalry unit crossing. It's a Tartars. Deciding that they're gonna try their luck at crossing the open field in between the forces. Didn't work out too well for them. The enemy cavalry here is actually winning over my reiters, which I'm quite surprised at, since my reiters are actually armored compared to these guys. Could be that my guys are winded. But as the enemy decides to follow them and ride right in front of all my gunners, it's not going too well for them. March through. I'm gonna get all my cavalry, swing them around. And let's see now as the enemy tries to... this side probably needs to fall back a little bit. And it looks like we've reached optimal positions for a lot of these units, so it's time to deploy the squares. Cavalry broke through our own lines and is now going to be ordered around. General will be ordered more towards the center to support them over there. Cannons, unfortunately I can't move them now. And I kind of want to swing up this part to actually fire at the enemy. But I guess it's just as well that we are firing on them with the cannons. Actually, I can fire on these up here. And then we can have these units start to march in on the enemy to get better angle at shooting them down. I think we could probably get closer over here, actually all across the line actually. We could probably close in. And deliver more of a punch to the enemy force, because they're not really shooting back, are they? What kind of troops are these? It's melee units. Sort of lightly armed. At least enough that my pistols will do quite a bit of damage to them. We can ride forwards, fire, and then retreat. Do some passing damage. While the cannons continue to fire into that. Now the entire line is erupted in fire. And we're slowly but surely breaking down the enemy. I'm not entirely sure all the units, like more or less all of the units, are melee units. So you would think that they would throw them in charging us and not just sitting there getting shot to pieces. Cannons usually doesn't do a lot of damage. I'm gonna tell the cannons to hold fire. And then we're gonna start to extend this line. And start to get closer to the enemy. Keep advancing on them here. Not entirely sure what the enemy is thinking right now, because at this point I'm slowly being able to encircle them, and they're not really putting up much resistance. Or maybe that is their plan. They want me to get closer so that they then can launch their melee attack. But right now, I wouldn't say that it's working too well for them. I think we need to get even closer here. Well, if this one's gonna attack, I've got cavalry ready to close in. I'm gonna have the other two close by here. Maybe you can march up like that. Get even closer. Maybe that's too close. We want to see about seeking battle with the enemy. This unit is getting rather close. I'm not entirely sure what the Ottomans' plans are. They're just constantly trying to avoid us. Oh, that's the general coming in. Riding straight into a square of pikes. Oh, here we go, fight. Here they got close enough that they're fighting the pike square. And sounds like they're kind of calling a charge back here, but they're kind of going towards the wrong units. Unless they're trying to just break out. Trying the best to attack over here. They're not really putting up any resistance, are they? There's no proper resistance coming from the Ottoman force. They're just haphazardly throwing their troops into very unplanned attacks. Here I've actually managed to get a proper encirclement going. And we have advanced so close on the enemy that I have barely any room to maneuver my troops. We have to extend the lines here. I guess they were put off by my cavalry, which has caused such a huge problem for them. Their forces getting absolutely murdered where they are actually trying to resist us. I was unfortunately too late to form square with this pike, but the cavalry charge was utter pointless, so they're not doing too well anyways. Looks like this will be an area where it will be good for us to actually throw in the cavalry to charge. We'll have all these troops now making their way out towards the field here to surround the enemy. Form square. Cavalry to be brought in. Heavy fighting is taking place, but it's a little bit too late for the Ottomans. They have clearly failed in whatever battle plan they might have had at some point. And their army is slowly but surely being chewed up by my men. Here comes the cavalry. We'll set one to save the little square over there. We've got the smaller units starting to harass these guys. And then you will swing out to be firing into the flank here. I can actually get the general as well to be set in to fire on that side. Okay, you kind of have to fall back over there. I think we can actually charge this one. We'll get at him from two sides. Order the pikes to attack over here. Yeah, it's all over for the Ottomans now. Really poor performance. Previous battles, they've been doing so well. I was kind of surprised how poor of a performance we have here from the Ottoman army. Might be time to hold fire there and just let the pikes work away at them. Have the two Cossack units open fire on this one to really break them before we send in the cavalry charge once more. And then we should be gold. Let's charge. I was kind of forcing them to go straight into the pikes. Really don't know what the Ottomans were thinking here. Well, clearly they weren't. Guess you could go even closer to get that point blank range to fire straight into them, as they've now almost completely surrounded the square. Actually, a bunch of the general's bodyguard got shot in that. Bullets flew through and missed and hit the general's bodyguard. Or 7 men were killed. Absolute slaughter for the Ottomans, and they lose yet another territory, which means that the only territory that they have left is their capital. Here's the result of the battle. We deployed a total of 6,000 men, although only 3,000 of them made it to the field. We lost 671, and the enemy lost every single soul that took part on their place. Musketeers! The Österreich Musketeers are the ones that kill the most, with one killing 443 and only losing 17. So, yeah, the Ottomans really did poorly in this battle. Except, of course, for one square that took a lot of casualties. It's this one right here. The Herzog von Holstein Regiment. 144. There we have that. Yet another Ottoman territory falls to us. So when we really put the effort to it, the Ottomans have no chance. And we are quickly just eating up everything they have. Which is wonderful, because now they only have the capital region left. And I'm sure at this point they are ready for... You know what? I want to test something. Can I open up negotiations with them? Peace agreement. Can I force them into becoming my vassal? Even though it keeps breaking the game? I'll hand over Provence. No. I don't think we will have peace. In case of peace, these two armies will retreat to this area. But I'm pretty confident, actually, just by these mortars, that I will slaughter these two armies at the siege here. And this force will be able to recover quite quickly, move down, and then we could see about actually sieging Constantinople. We'll have actually two armies moving down on Constantinople. And then maybe in the next one, maybe it'll be the siege, second siege, or whatever siege it'll be of Belgrade. Or we'll have, I think, most likely I'll be doing a lot of work on this off camera. But, yeah, Belgrade or whatever comes next. With that said, I'll say as I always say, hopefully you guys enjoy this. And hopefully I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye.